Welcome back. My name is Tasha Lavon, and this is Restore and Invigorate for Balance, Strength, and a Happy Life. And today I want to talk about trauma. Trauma is something that many of us have experienced, but a lot of times we don't even realize it. A few years ago, I decided to do like this holistic health kick that I was on. And I decided I was going to make 3 appointments. I wanted to see my physician, I wanted to see a physical trainer, and I also wanted to see a therapist. And actually, I should add a fourth person to that, a dietitian. And I was just basically focused on trying to be as healthy as I could be and just sort of getting my whole house in order. So when I went to see the therapist, they basically do an initial evaluation. For some of you who may be considering seeing a therapist and you haven't done it, this is one of the things that they do at the beginning of the process. They'll start to ask you a bunch of questions because sometimes you don't even know, you know, if there's a problem or if the problem does exist and you know you're going for a specific reason, you don't always know the whys and the hows and all those different things. So they ask you a series of questions just to kind of see where you are and just kind of to get a baseline of where things are beginning. And one of the first questions my therapist asked me was, have you experienced any trauma? And so my immediate response was no. I haven't experienced any trauma. And so they, simply said okay. And then they went on about asking certain questions about, how things were at a certain age, or asking if you had, ever experienced anything that really hurt you, or, just different questions. And by the time we were finished within that hour session, I realized I had experienced a lot of trauma, things that I didn't even think were trauma. For instance, being divorced after 24 years of marriage was in itself traumatic. It really was. Um, when I was a child and my parents, split up, that was a traumatic experience. There was even an incident where, when I was young, I was a teenager and I was babysitting for a relative, watching their kids, and the couple got into a fight, and it was a really physical fight, and one of them got cut, and it was pretty bad, and I was probably about 13, 12 at the time, and I took my little niece and nephew into the bathroom and put them in the tub. And I locked the door because the fighting was so out of control. I didn't want any of us to get hurt in the process. And so that was something that was traumatic. But in my mind, I'm thinking all these instances are just life. This is just life happening. These are things that happen. No, these are not things that people want to experience, but I was just thinking it was life, and I didn't realize that I had experienced trauma. And so I bring this issue up because a lot of times we can be walking around with hurt inside of us, with damage that's been done to us, and we don't even realize it. We just feel like I said, this is life. This is just what happened. And if you've grown up in certain neighborhoods, there's no telling what you may have seen. If you've grown up in certain households, there's no telling what you might have seen or experienced. And so sometimes you can be walking around again with mental damage, emotional damage, and you may not even realize it. When I went to that office that day, I wasn't thinking, oh, I have, trauma in my life. I was just thinking I was starting over, and I wanted to start over from a good place. Like I said, I wanted to get my house in order. And in the process of doing that, I just realized that there were a lot of things that really hadn't healed, but I just tried to move beyond them. You know, I just tried to keep moving. I grew up hearing things like, pick up your nervous breakdown and keep on walking. You know, or fake it till you make it. These are things that we hear often that can be perhaps helpful in the moment, but at some point you have to go back and address that hurt, because if you don't, you'll carry it on into other relationships, you'll carry it on into other experiences, you know, or you'll just be walking around with a whole lot of baggage that you didn't intend to carry. So today, I just wanted to point that out, that trauma is real. Trauma can take place in such a myriad of ways, you know, and it could have happened at any point in your life. It could have happened last week. It could have happened 5 years ago. It could have happened in your childhood. And these are things that should be addressed and should be talked about. So today, I just kind of wanted to share that with you. It's all part of being balanced, it's all part of being strengthened and living a happy life. So feel free to comment. There may be some things that I haven't shared that you may have experience about. And again, I want to say uh, I'm sharing just straight from my heart. It's unscripted, but I am not a professional, but I definitely recommend getting professional help. But I feel like these conversations have to be had in order for us to really, you know, seek the help that we need, and to realize that we are not the only ones who have experienced these things. So I'm just sharing with you from my heart to yours, and I hope you have a great day and live your best, happy, and healthy life. All right. Bye bye.